Mm.
Oh, yeah. You're looking at two of the brightest, oldest minds in the boxing game today. Hey, it's time to take all of your limbs and put them inside the box live and direct on the BCX, the Brian Campbell Experience. I am.
LJ?
That's the 4-point play, baby. By the way, my best friend, Jeff Bogus, has a plaque on his wall that every time you walk by it, it plays the call of the 4-point play. It's got a picture of LJ on it.
Your best
Hey,
friend is named Bogus?
yeah, Bogo. That's my guy. Hey, I'm BC, the proprietor of this channel. That's the saltiest boxing fan in America. They call him Stash. It's Rafa Bartolome, the New York Times best-selling author. Rafe, we took a couple weeks off, but this box, this game that we follow, this hustle that we come in and out of, like when Harry met Sally, it's on fire right now, brother. How in the hell are you over there in suburban Detroit, Michigan?
Yo, I'm all right. I'm freezing my balls off, to be honest, and mad that my, the Oakland shout out to Oakland University. I do appreciate you, but why'd you have to close the gym? All right. I need to get in there and shoot a few hundred mediocre jump shots in the morning.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I turn into this guy. And this guy, nobody likes this guy.
I don't like that guy at all. By the way, you are a noted stretch four. Bill Simmons once said that one time. All right. He did on a podcast. I heard it.
Because I was the only one who could dribble.
All right. All right. Rafe, we got a lot of box to get into, but you know how the hell outside of the cold is your personal life these days? I want to get personal with you. How the hell are you doing? I mean, we got candy lickers watching this show. We got friends in the game. Tell the folks how you're feeling.
I'm feeling all right. It's cold, man. I'm just trying to survive out here. I got an old ass dog who doesn't want to walk outside because it's too cold. Then I take his ass outside. He falls down on his ass while he's pissing. Boy. I mean, I got problems.
Oh boy, they got Lou Duva up on a stretcher.
Yeah, man. Lou's down, man. Lou is down.
Yeah. All right. All right. Rafe, what have you been up to lately outside of being cold with a dog? Are you considering possibly writing another book? That's me asking you as a friend.
Yes, I would love to write another book. It's I would I'm considering it, but I don't know if I'll get that opportunity. It's hard to sell a book, I mean, like I'm not Cher. I am not I don't know, whatever other biography celebrity coming out. But I am still a writer.
Are you still a writer. Me? Would you consider writing a book about the box?
No, under no circumstances. Like what the fuck would that be about? Who would buy that? All right, talk to Hamilcar Production, whatever they call it, Searchlight Record, whatever they are. The people who do the boxing books every 3 months. Who's buying that? Like how like. I'm not writing for free, so I don't think I can do boxing at the moment.
All right. I mean, on the salty scale of Rafe Stash on a 1 to 10, I think you're about at 8.5 right now.
I'm also mad at myself for not shaving the rest of this sooner, because now if I did it, it would be Rugburn City up here, and that's almost as bad as Ring City, USA.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. We're all over the place here. And, Jonah Friedman's making pizza. So here we go. We're going to get into the show here.
By the end of this show, Jonah's going to be throwing pizza at me like I was Face Lou Victor Ortiz.
Yes. But you know what? Like Coach Haas, Joseph Janik.
You're not going to be there for me. You're not here.
I will be there for you.
It doesn't look like it.
Virtually. Okay. All right. I'll reach out to you via. Yeah. See, I'm borderline reaching around at the moment. Okay.
I can't do it. I'm trying to the wrong hand. Yeah.
All right. If you're new here, this is the best boxing show in the game today. We're back at it. We're fired up. It is in a Inoue fight week, although it won't be against unbeaten Sam Goodman this Friday in Japan. It will be against a fellow that calls himself Packy Weather. Your thoughts, Ray?
I'm all down on Packy Weather. Why not? Sam Goodman? That guy doesn't sound like a fighter.
No, he's not. Where do you weigh in on Herman Sarai and pineapples on pizza? Because I've gone on record saying meatball and pineapple are the elite toppings to match on a nice cheese pie. You know what I'm saying?
Elite. I don't know about that, but I'll eat anything on a pizza almost, and certainly pineapples are fine with me. I'm not a purist.
All right.
All
Would
right,
you
you
eat
know,
ass? I mean, it's just
on a pizza, if you could get it on a pizza, I suppose, yes.
Okay, all
I
right.
mean, I've eaten like chicken ass barbecued in the Philippines all the time. It's good.
Damn, anus. They got some of that there.
What? Yeah, you can order it.
All right. Do you have connections with the actress who played Bakagong on the Filipino telenovela, that soap opera that you were on, where, to remind the people, you struck a woman, you took part in a threesome. It was a wild role for you. It was worse than Ed Norton in American History X stepping on that guy's neck on the curb. All right.
Look, at least I was pretty racist too. Jeez, that was not a good character. All in 7 episodes. But you only get these opportunities to participate in showbiz once in a while, and if you don't say yes, you can never say that. Hey, I slapped a woman and her baby on camera.
All right, this has gotten off to a horrible start, this podcast, but let's get into the good out there. All right, if you call it that. It's 2025, and boxing is about to undergo a stretch that we've never dealt with before. We've never had the access to. A lot of our dreams have the potential to come true. Dreams of the best fighting the best all the damn time, Rafe. The best having 2 to 3 fights lined up already in the future. The losers to face the losers, the winners to face the winners. There is a price to pay with everything that good that happens in your life. And we don't know what that price will pay yet in boxing fandom in 2025 as Turki Al-Sheikh continues to take over with the launch of the ring and the tease of what he's calling the craziest schedule in boxing history. I mean, you may have seen this tweet before, Rafe. They talk a lot about the fights, but what happens in the end is that the final answer is with us. Prepare soon for announcing the biggest schedule for the year in boxing history. Some of these have begun to leak out, and here we are responding today. There's been a lot of misinformation from the from the old guard in the boxing media. Does that surprise you as people jump all over each other's throats to report half-true stories that are inevitably wrong?
It is a competitive industry, and all I know that is if you cross that one man out there in Yahoo Ringland with the bald head, he will come for you on Twitter. He's taking no prisoners. Keith Idec, he's taking no prisoners.
Oh, Keith Idec will get in your kitchen and throw hands right now. No, this isn't the Mannix Mora pod, but shout out to those.
Which of us gets to be Mora?
I hope I get to be Mannix in this scenario.
Oh, sure. All right, then it's a deal. All right, you could be Mannix, I'll be Mora.
All right. So here's the deal, Rafe. I don't even know how much you know about the fights that we're about to talk about.
Well, I know that none of them are real yet.
They seem a lot more real than you realize. So first and foremost, the biggest ticket item that Turki is showing. He's showing FaceTime videos with Canelo and Bud, and he's saying and retweeting reports from others that this September at 168 pounds, no rehydration clause, just 2 men acting like men do. And Terrence Bud Crawford will move up 2 or even 3 weight classes, depending on where you think he's actually at right now, to face Canelo Alvarez for the unified super middleweight title. One or both might have interim fights. I know that PBC has a deposit down on that May 3rd Cinco de Mayo weekend in Vegas. And I'm hearing that Bud could be interested in other fights. But first and foremost, how you feeling about this? This is a fantasy super fight. And everybody except for Tank right now seems to have a price for the $1 million man. Canelo flew out to London for that Ring Awards celebration gala thing. Everybody got FaceTime with Turki behind the scenes. And you could argue that this is the biggest fight you can make in boxing right now. If we get Bud Canelo in September, what are Rafe's thoughts?
Hell yes. We talked about this before the holidays or right at whenever we spoke last, when you said, what am I looking forward to this year? I said, let's go. Let's make this Crawford and Canelo fight. That's the fight I want. I want to see that. I have long been a big fan of Bud Crawford. Honestly, the only fighter on sort of like him and Usyk are the 2 fighters in our, the generation of since then our adult boxing fandom, media lives that I never got to see live. And I regret never having had that opportunity. And it's a fight I wanted. I was interested in that from day one, and I still am to this day, as they say, Brian. And
You
so
spoke it, you believed it.
yeah,
You're about
and
to receive it,
now
bro.
I'm ready to receive it. I would prefer to receive it before some stay busy fights in May, but shoot, September, I will take that gladly. I will pull goodly on it. I love this fight. I believe in Crawford enough to think that he will be competitive, even against a great fighter, even going up in weight. And also knowing that Canelo, if anything, he struggles a little bit with speed. And I think that even an older 37-year-old Terence Crawford will probably still have a little bit of an edge on him in that category. And among others, look, I want this moment for Bud. I want to see him go in there. I also want to see him win. And if he doesn't, whatever, at least it happened. Yeah, I'm excited. This was going to happen. This was where they've been headed. Don't get like rainmakered by Turkey or whoever else is trying to take credit for a fight that was already on the tracks. Yes, fights get derailed.
The man paid for it. The man is going to pay for it. All right, so he's got to get some form of credit. Look, I'm not here to lick Turkey's balls. I want you to know that. I'm basically just saying, I'm not collecting checks. I'm not working, at least at the moment, for DAZN or The Ring or anything like that. But I want to say this as a boxing fan, as a hardened boxing fan, as somebody who's been through 2012, 2014. You remember the every other year joke we went through, as someone who's lived through so many eras that could have had the potential to push our sport back to a level of, I don't want, casuals walking around thinking they know in boxing, but I want money in this business. I want the fights to matter. There's not a fight you can conceive that doesn't have the chance of happening this year. That's insane as a boxing fan. So when I bring this up to Luke Thomas, my partner on Morning Combat, he can't get past the sports washing, and to some degree I get it, right? I just believe that as boxing fans, we have all already made the deal that said, we will accept your sports washing if we can get the great fights in return. There's obvious potential pitfalls about what's happening here from the standpoint of a monopoly potentially to even, will this kill boxing in the North American market, all that stuff. But yet Turkey's taken this Ring Magazine series and bringing fights to the States. Bud versus Canelo is not set to be taking place in Riyadh. It's going to be in Las Vegas, according to those that are reporting. So, Rafe, will you echo me at least in saying, I got to respect what this guy's trying to do, even though the motives might be different from what you'd want. This guy's taking control of the sandbox and creating matchups that we thought we'd have to wait 5 to 8 years to even sniff out.
Yeah, look, I'm all in favor of this. I am more Team Turkey than not. I only mean with Canelo and Crawford that I feel like there was buzz for this fight. There was momentum for this fight. This was the kind of fight that both fighters were probably eyeing as a career capstone moment for each of them. If they could, even besides the posturing that Canelo has engaged in, which he engages in with every opponent, he's like, oh, well, actually, I don't know if he belongs in the ring with me. I'm so great, blah, blah, blah. Rick the Model Martel, let me smell myself, whatever.
Arrogance, baby.
Yeah.
Arrogance.
Like this, I believe that he was always taking this fight seriously as something he would do in his career, because it did start to make sense, even with the difference in weights. So I guess I am, and yes, it is great that that Turkey's money is helping to make that happen at this juncture. To me, it seems like with Canelo involved, you can always get somebody to pony up for it. That has been the trend in boxing over the last decade, right? I mean, he's probably going to end up fighting William Skull, I read, in May, and like,
no,
going to put up money for that trash because it's Canelo. So if you get Canelo plus a well enough known elite B-side, and I hate to even call Terence Crawford a B-side because he's obviously an A-level talent and fighter, but in it just is what it is in terms of fame. I thought this fight was going to happen with or without Turkey. Now, these other fights that Turkey is throwing money at, thank you for those. I can't wait to see them. I don't care that they're happening in Riyadh or in the United States. I don't care. All right.
You're like, I'm not going to them anyway. So
Right,
you
like,
can back off.
this is the thing. I've read a lot of these takes, absorbed a handful of them. Oh, we have to worry about local boxing audiences and cultivating fans. Man, I became a boxing fan by watching boxing on TV. I bet that's true for most of us. And I was fortunate enough in my life to then attend some fights while covering them as media when I didn't have to pay, and then even pay the bill, pay for some tickets to see some great fights. I took my dad not only to see Golovkin's debut in Verona, but also randomly, just because my dad was going to be in town. I knew there was a fight when we were in LA back then. I took him to see the Machine, Lucas Matisse and John Molina, fight of the year. Incredible
Fight of the year, bro.
Fight of the year, and we had a blast, man. StubHub Center, Carson never fails.
Well,
but I guess I don't care that it's not happening in the States. Most of the arguments against Turkey, I don't really feel very strongly about. The only thing I feel strongly about is, other than enjoying the content that they're going to create and being thankful that it exists and maybe paying for it, then I don't really owe you much beyond that. I don't need to fucking, get on a knee and kiss a ring or sing praises to high heavens. Like, I don't even have a financial stake in the success of this sport anymore. So I'll watch it when it's good and I'll ignore it when it's bad. Thank you.
Wow, tough talk from a tough man. Were you feeling the same Midwest love that Al Drum was trying to reach out to you from Indiana? Or are you like, I may live here, but I'm not about this place?
Look, I've been here for 5 years. That's long enough to feel a little bit. I definitely feel a little bit of pride. I definitely feel a little bit of umbrage at you coastal elites, Brian. You Naugatuck coastal elites, flying
there ain't
over in
nothing
your
elite
private
about
jets.
Naugatuck. All right, there ain't nothing elite about that. Where I live now, pretty elite. I don't fit in, but yeah, nothing elite about that. All right, we're good friends. You know I love you, Daddy. And here's what's interesting. When Canelo Crawford was first birthed, and you made a good point, it was birthed pre-Turkey. It was basically birthed when Crawford beat Spence back in 2023. The hipster response from everybody was, you know what? Didn't really expect Bud to walk through Spence like there was nothing there. Maybe he could move up and do this. Heck, you know what? I'm going to tweet that if this ever happens, I'm back in Bud. And I don't hate people that are doing that. I will say, now that this is much closer to a reality, if not already signed, I mean, they're FaceTiming with Turkey. That's what you need, right? I feel like more people on boxing Twitter, the people we respect, are coming out and being like, hey, man, love this fight. But Bud doesn't realize he's about to get hurt and hurt badly. And there's certainly, if you want to fight either side of the argument, that this is a sneaky fight that Bud could win or that he's headed to destruction, there are enough historical comparisons to defend both sides of the argument, right? No doubt. I mean, you got Jake or Alex Crichton saying, Crawford moving up is not as crazy as people think. Don't forget De La Hoya Pacquiao. Yeah, there's been a lot of those instances. Ray Leonard coming off of that long layoff and moving up to middleweight and then moving up to like 68 and 75 to fight Donnie Lalonde. Where are you right now, temperature wise? I don't need a pick. I don't need how they're going to do it. But just of that belief, is Bud Crawford going to find out the hard truth the hard way? Or are we looking at it's going to be interesting just because we don't know what it's going to look like. But what are your expectations in terms of the size difference and how much that's going to matter if they do this in September in Las Vegas?
I think, of course, it matters. I think that if they were the same size, then then I imagine Crawford starts to look like a favorite to a lot of people, but he's not. And Canelo has been successful, and it's just a full-blown 168 pounder. Even if he started his career beating up Hatton brothers and Cotto brothers at 140 pounds, like he is a large, stocky, dangerous fella right now. And he's looked good. He looked good in that last fight, right? I mean, he's looked good against Berlanga. He looks more like the Canelo, enough like the Canelo that is a deserved top pound for pound fighter in the world. That whether it was his hand or whatever, we started to doubt a little bit during that run of John Ryder fights. I can't. Yeah, is it possible that Crawford is biting off more than he can chew, and that he's going to feel Canelo's power when it catches up to him at some point in that fight, which I'm sure it will. Canelo is too good, I think, to get completely whitewashed. I mean, speaking of whitewashes,
you bringing in race right now?
Yeah,
What's going on here?
I mean, being completely shut out, a flawless victory seems unlikely for either side here. I'm still interested. I've always been interested. I think we've seen, especially in this modern era, examples of where speed can overcome size. The greater small man can, in some cases, beat the greater big man. I mean, Usyk just did it at heavyweight to a couple very, very, very good, one great heavyweight.
Don't forget, Spud Webb won the '86 dunk contest
this
too.
Is also true, right? As did Nate Robinson. I think he has 2 of those.
Yeah, well, he's got like 3 of them, and I think only 2 were legitimate because they had fan voting involved. I mean, he didn't beat Iguodala. Come on.
That's true. Look, the dunk contest sucks. We know it. But anyway, man, I'm into the fight. I don't care that there's a chance that Canelo could make us all look stupid. I want to see it. I'm curious enough. And it just makes sense at this point in their careers. Why not take a crazy legacy fight for both of them?
I saw David Benavidez's reaction, and obviously he's got a can't freaking miss fight coming up in less than 2 weeks against David Morrell on PBC pay-per-view February 1st. And I loved it because I felt like David Benavidez has not been aggressive enough in calling out Canelo. I know Benavidez got to a point where he basically said, F Canelo, I'm done waiting for him. I'm going to 75. I'm going to handle my own business. But he straight up was like, when they asked him, he's like, you see he's fighting Crawford? And he's like, man, Canelo's a pussy. Will this narrative in your eyes be a part of the build to Bud Crawford fight? The idea that Canelo has been, I mean, Floyd kind of gave us, you pointed this out in the past, that Floyd gave us every other fight, right? For the most part, it was like, well, we got to deal with Guerrero, but we'll get Canelo, right? It was like during that stretch with Showtime, it was like, I'll have one where I'm going to shut him out Baldomir style, and then the other one will be a little bit of a challenge. Canelo's been taking nothing but Baldomirs lately.
Have you ever done anything Baldomir style, Brian?
I try not to follow that man's lead in terms of how he treats women in his family or
nothing funny about that. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing funny.
I just thought, like, did you ever upset Zab Judah?
No, I didn't. It is a bitch move here. I want the Crawford fight more than anything, and I think it's enough where people aren't going to be talking about what he's not doing. But will this follow him? Will this catch up with him? Did we just kind of like how we forgave him for clenbuterol? We forgave him for waiting out Triple G a couple years. We forgave him for knocking out Archie Solis's teeth on the Guadalajara sidewalk over that girl. Any other injustices? We forgave him for heel Canelo. Can we forgive him for this sudden, hey guys, you know what? I don't need to challenge myself anymore.
I personally think that fighting Terrence Crawford will be a challenge for Canelo. If he proves me wrong, good for him. Going into that fight, Benavidez has a great case over the years, over time, of saying, look, this little motherfucker has ducked me repeatedly. And he has found excuses to not fight Benavidez, one reason or another. All that, I think, is a very compelling argument. But it doesn't apply to this particular fight. It does, for some reason, Canelo thinks that fighting Crawford is easier or less dangerous for him. Okay, let's find out. Personally, I would probably I think I'm probably one of the weirdos out there who believes this, but I think Canelo has a harder time beating Crawford than Benavidez.
You think Canelo has a harder time beating Bud than Benavidez? That is an interesting statement. It might not be wrong, because Bud very much looks to be an all-timer. Mm-hmm. And boy, if he pulls this off, he will catapult from great of this era, but too bad he was on the other side of the street, to how high do you want to rank him?
We don't at the whole other side of the street part of Crawford's legacy. Is that still a big demerit for him? I mean, he did retire Porter. I mean, I guess he didn't get to most of these. He didn't give them their first L's besides Errol Spence, but that one done a whole lot to sort of redeem that whole narrative, didn't it?
Well, it's not like he didn't fight anybody,
I
But
guess like the seatbelt did hand an L, but other than that,
okay. But when Canelo came out to TMZ the other day and was like, he only has one elite win, he hasn't fought anybody. I thought that was too far, but
he hit him
obviously,
with the famous old, Errol Spence at the dais line, all tipsy off of Brooklyn Barclays drinks,
oh
talking about
yeah.
who he beat Regis Progrerian, who just he beat Ndongo, like
Tell me
Regis
somebody he beat better
Progrerius
than
just
Chris
beat him.
Algieri. Tell me somebody he beat better than Chris Algieri.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying here is obviously in a star-studded pay-per-view welterweight era, he didn't get any of the big names until Porter, when Al Heyman allowed Porter to cross the street in what would be his final fight. But Crawford's great. So I don't know. But here's the deal. We're going to be talking in a minute more about these other huge fights being teased. And they're all playing under this idea from Turkey right now. And he put a tweet out about it, by the way, that we have to stop in boxing. And this might be refreshing to you as a hardened boxing fan. We have to stop worrying about protecting the zero. He literally said in his tweet that a Floyd Mayweather comes around once every 50 to 70 years. And we need to stop. The best need to fight the best. We need to be like MMA and not care about losses, and the sport will be better. To a lot of the audience, that's music to people's ears. But I'm seeing reports that Canelo has signed a 3-fight deal with Turkey. And don't forget that tweet that I showed you a minute ago. There's one line in that I can't get past that I don't think people are picking up on. That whole line he's talking about that, like, they all talk about the fights, but what happened is in the end is the final answer is with us. I think he's talking to the fighters with that tweet. I think he's saying, talk trash that you're not going to fight this guy all you want, but if we want to make that fight, you're either with us or you're against us financially and in terms of opportunity. And this is where this whole refreshing part of not caring about the unbeaten record is, because we want to see great fights. But he's forcing fighters to step up to the table, like Jared Big Baby Anderson when he went in there against Piccoli, to show how great they are right now. Will, in your opinion, he make Canelo have to earn those 3 fights? Or do you think it'll be enough that he's fighting Crawford and the other 2 can be, we're just happy to have you, Big Red?
Look, I believe in taking boxing pretty much one fight at a time, no matter what it says on the paper. I mean, like, okay, maybe there's going to be a 3-fight deal. I do think that that it's likely that Turkey will then, like he has done and like he has a great track record of doing, encourage, pay well, do everything. You empty his whole tool, not the whole toolbox. We're not talking about the bone saws yet, but I mean, he will do most everything within his power to make these big fights that people want to see, because it reflects on him also, right? He's really putting himself out there as the guy who can make, the Wizard of Oz for boxing. And I don't even remember the plot of the Wizard of Oz. I don't mean that in some weird metaphorical way where at the end he's not really
I just mean Dark Side of the Moon, the second.
Yeah, I don't listen to that shit either.
Oh wow.
Yeah, okay. I don't care. But with Turkey, he's putting himself out there as the front man for this. Like, he wants the credit for these great fights, and so that is good, because it puts more pressure on him as the money man to pony up and persuade and do whatever he needs to do to make these fights. Now, Canelo is old. He's got what? He's one of the last throwback, champions who has a record with more than 60 fights on it. Like, he's been in this game since he was a little redheaded teenager. You know what I was doing as a little redheaded teenager? It wasn't what Canelo. I wasn't accomplishing.
You were getting fat, and you were petting a cat inside of a bar. Okay, exactly. I know your history. I read the book.
Unfortunately, there are pictures. But so Canelo can decide, and he might very well decide, all right, I'm done. I don't want to, like, Turkey, whether that's because he's just done, whether that's because he doesn't want what Turkey wants him to do, he can walk away. And even if he doesn't want to walk away from the deal, Canelo will probably find a way out of it and fight someone else. Like, I don't think that, like, especially with the stars of the sport who still have a lot of power themselves, even if they're not individually as powerful as Turkey is with this giant piggy bank. They're still allowed to say no. In fact, I believe, as much as I want fighters to, and the sport to, start accepting losses sometimes and have it not be seen as the end of a fighter's career, right? That'll be very healthy for the sport. It will not be healthy for the sport, or honestly for the world I want to live in, if it gets to a point where where it's like I can't say no. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill my family or whatever sort of
Wow.
strength.
You're,
Like
so you're saying forget Khashoggiing cop. You're saying the fighters might be next if they don't accept the offer.
that's what you're saying. If you're saying that Canelo literally cannot say no, he can say or no. He should like if a fighter does not want to fight, he should not be forced to fight. All right. Yeah. Now, if he is already signed on and starts wiggling out towards the end, that's a gray area that we sometimes encounter in boxing. I'm not talking about like Curtis Harper walking out the ring. I am talking about.
By the way, he might get Wilder next time.
I heard he's up. Yeah. Well, look,
you might get beat by a man with titties. It might happen.
Right? If he fights as well against Wilder as he did against F.A. Ajagba, I favor Deontay, and the Alabamian is more to my liking.
Yes, the guy who made out with his own statue. All right. I got a lot to talk to you about on a quick aside. First of all, Iverson Lukic says this guy's is a jerky. I think he's talking about you and your jerky soul right there.
But number 2, call, Brian.
And also real quick, we have a question coming into Rafe from Stephen T. Steven. Ask Rafe if he spent his whole per diem on shirts at
Dan Flashes. I'm glad that someone, Brian, gets what's going on here. Brian, these shirts are so complicated. The patterns are there's so many patterns on each one of these shirts. They can cost as much as $400.
That your shirt is giving me a seizure.
They have a shirt. Dan Flashes has a shirt that is so complicated it costs $1,000. And if you don't understand
what that you're wearing right now,
if you don't understand what I am talking about, then I think you should leave.
Okay, I think you should finish, Naseem. All right, finish eating, please. Stop getting fat, Prince. Lazy Bed says it looks like a Windows 98 screensaver, and that's hilarious. Thank you very much. Also, Rafe, we have Lazy Bed saying that you're kind of looking like a ginger Guy Fieri. Are you in for that? Are you here for that?
Well, Guy has had a comeback. He's not sort of he's not on the downslope like he was for many years. People kind of respect him now. The weirdest thing, in my old neighborhood in Ferndale, Michigan, there was a car that was always parked on the street a few blocks from my house that had a vanity plate, G. Fieri. Now, I know he wasn't living there. That could not have been the real Guy, but I always hoped to see that man or that woman, whoever, that person, that woman judge walking into the car and be like, so you're G. Fieri. You're the ass man.
Quick aside from Jonah Freeman, he would pay top dollar for you and I to do a BKFC watch along, but that gets a little skinheady. I don't think you're into that.
He'll put me for top dollar. I would do it damn near anything. Turkey, okay. Where we at?
Quick cleanup here on Bud Canelo. Let's hear from Community Service Band, which I'm wondering if this is Mr. 80K himself. He says Bud Canelo not on his wish list, but he would definitely watch it at a Hooters in Campbell, California. Great place to watch a Canelo fight before it
one of the best from what I've heard. And you know what happens at a Hooters?
Young women hack up their bees to get you to tip higher.
No, it's a great place to watch a Canelo fight.
Oh, okay. And also from Alex, Canelo saying he won't get credit for beating Bud is foolish because if Crawford wins, it looks even worse. Yeah, I think he should get off that nod about dismissing Crawford, because if Canelo wins and if he does it in a way that the fight is tough, you want to give him credit. You don't want to be like, oh, he almost lost to a smaller guy. Unbelievable. All right. Rafe will indeed stay cooking. Let's keep it going here because Turkey has not stopped the fights he's teasing, if not announced. So here's the deal. There's essentially a soft launch here of a unofficial 4-man tournament involving 4 of the biggest stars between 140 and 147 that somewhere in between is a Haney Garcia rematch. This is how crazy it's getting. So let me lay it out to you. In May of this year, and anyone saying, and they're right, I get when people say, hey, stop putting Turkey on a pedestal. It's not like he's donating his life savings to the industry. He's just taking the government's money and doing what he's told. For Riyadh season, that's true. But Turkey has claimed that he has purchased the ring with private equity and that he's launching in a U.S.-based ring fight series. I assume it's going to be on DAZN, Rafe, because you saw that New York Times report that Saudi Arabia has invested $1 billion into DAZN, into good old Days In. But here's the plan. In May, possibly in Times Square, brother, like outdoors, as if it's a Friday night fights in Miami, Oklahoma, outdoors in the middle of the road. Here's the triple header they got cooked up. F.A. Ajagba versus I already forgot the name. Did you see who he's going to fight?
Was it Bacoli?
Yeah, Martin Bacoli, which is
A very good fight. Yeah.
Co-main event. Devin Haney defending his 140 title in the first return from the loss / no contest to Ryan Garcia against Jose Ramirez, the former unified 140 king. And in your main event, it was supposed to be Ryan Garcia versus Pitbull Cruz. Reports on the internet are saying that Pitbull Cruz turned down the fight ultimately because he has a fight first coming up in Riyadh season and didn't want to commit to a second one until he saw the result. So Rolly Romero, my favorite fighter, is going to fight Ryan Garcia in the main event. But that's not all, Rafe. If Haney and Garcia win, they will headline a fall fight card in a rematch against one another, in which the co-main event will be Teofimo Lopez, if he wins his upcoming talked about unification with Richardson Hitchens at 140, will take on Duran Boots Ennis if Boots wins his April 12th welterweight title unification against Imantas, my Lithuanian Staniosis. Also, Rafe, this doubleheader in the fall, according to Turkey, the winners will fight the winners, meaning you got Haney Garcia on one side, you got Boots versus Teo on the other, and in early 26, the winners fight the winners and the losers fight the losers. That's a lot. That's a mouthful that I just spit out. But you're basically taking, not everyone is one of these 4 princes or 5 princes or whoever we've adopted this new generation, but you're taking 4 of the best young fighters in the world. And you're basically saying, here's a tournament where you already know ahead of time your next 2 to 3 fights. I saw an interview with the journalist Marcos Villegas with Teofimo Lopez at the Commerce Casino over the weekend. And
Teo playing cards?
Teo, well, yeah, he was with all his Asian brethren over there. By the way, I spent a weekend there for Team Combat League. That's a weird building, weird
Did you
area.
go to the outlet malls?
No, it's in East LA and like an industrial area.
There's an outlet mall right up the street. Anyway.
Oh, I didn't make it that far.
You wouldn't.
He's excited. I would think the fighters have to be excited. These guys only seem to want this younger new generation, the biggest fights for the biggest money, and now they got it. How do you react to that insane schedule that I just rolled out for 4 of the top fighters in this game?
Okay, Brian, we both grew up watching a lot of HBO boxing, right? The stuff that we would hear Larry Merchant talking about, Jim Lampley, these great voices that just rattle around in our head. What is one of the biggest and most true cliches about the sport of boxing? Boxing. I love boxing. I love it. What is what did they used to say almost every time something, it is the theater of
the absurd, the
unexpected. Boxing, yes. The theater of the unexpected.
Yes.
So it's not a great idea to lay forth these multi-track plans that are supposed to come to fruition a whole year from now if 6 different fights play out exactly as planned. It's not I'm sure promoters do it on some level because it's their job to try and chart out fighters' careers and all that. But does it always work out that way? Definitely not. And that doesn't mean I don't like the ambition. It's fun to talk about. We're here right now talking about it. Somebody, like this is the grist for the mill of our media machine.
I have a phoner. I want you to know I have a phoner right now.
So here's my issue. The fights that start off this thing are the dumbest ones in the mix, and that kind of makes sense. These guys need some get back because they've been out. All right, Devin Haney's just been licking his wounds for a year. Ryan Garcia's been on suspension for cheating for a year. They're not going to fight each other, head immediately into the ring against each other. But come on, man. Rolly, he sucks. He's always sucked.
Stop that. Him versus Ryan is the perfect.
No, I don't know what he has done, what favors he did you to make you enjoy this shtick. It's dry humor. Dry humor?
Yes.
No, it ain't dry, man. It's sopping, disgusting. It's sopping wet in ass juice.
He got cleared
humor.
of that woman.
Right?
He got cleared. Okay.
Look,
he got cleared.
I don't. If forget the humor aspect of Rolly, he's not good. And I guess a fight against Ryan Garcia is always interesting because he could just be, Ryan Garcia is a absolute like loose cannon. You have no clue what shape he's going to be in, what his mind state's going to be, if he's actually committed to the sport, or if he is really just wants to be an internet celebrity. And my long run, I think he's going to be a more successful internet celebrity than a successful boxer. These are gross people. I don't really care about.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with them.
Okay.
And then beneath that, who's Haney supposed to be fighting? Oh, Ramirez. Look, it makes sense, but it's not. This is like a normal ass good card. All right.
Okay. If it's in Times Square, it's not a normal ass good card.
Okay. Get the Times Square. Come on, man. Who were the hijackers back in the day? Can you remind me? What country were they from? Keep them ass out of Times Square.
You're making 9/11 jokes right now.
I'm sorry. No. How are they going to?
Can Building 7 fall like that without being?
No, man. You had to take it further. All right, let's go back to boxing in Times Square. I would be surprised if that event actually comes off in Times Square. If it does, cool. Does that mean we could all watch it? Will it be like, also, how sad will it be when like we're used to seeing Times Square filled with a million people during New Year's Eve, and now we're gonna watch and there's like just random ass dudes walking by not paying attention to Ryan Garcia's dumbass in the ring. Like this,
dude, having Ryan and Haney on the same card is gonna attract.
Didn't they already have them on the same card against each other in New York and it not attract that much people?
Do you not realize how fun the Ryan Rowley build will be?
No, it won't be. You're the only one who still gets a kick out of Rowley's bullshit. Like he's gonna say a bunch of dumb stuff, and curse a lot and be crude in a way that's not even clever. It's not my cup of tea. I'm sorry. It's not for me.
But I think
it's a good event. It's a very good event. I'm sorry. It's a good event.
Your mustache and that shirt. And what does that hat even say?
GTWM.
What does that stand for?
Good Times with Mo.
Who's Mo?
Mo Twister.
What the hell is this? Is there a New York City underground rapper or some Filipino guy? What is this?
Some Filipino guy. You got it.
Okay. All right. By the way, who was that Filipino guy who has that podcast and he had you on, then he had me on? That guy was the best. Big Lakers fan. He had me on to talk about Conor McGregor's rise. He talked to you about Lou Duva and Riddick Bowe and Galata.
The guy from Washington, we talking about Jason Cruz? He works with John Nash on the weird, he's a fight lawyer kind of guy.
He's Filipino American. The guy that had you on the, all right, we'll have this off camera. All right. I don't know. All right.
Well, I had a podcast with a Philippine guy.
Yeah, don't talk about podcasts that no longer exist. If I could pull back your liquid crack, is that a giant bottle of liquid crack right there?
This is not liquid crack, man. This is high quality H2O with a little bit of Celsius powder in it.
Okay. All
right. I'm getting off the crack onto the Celsius.
What you're trying to say, outside of trying to put people on the no-fly list, is that marination and boxing haven't always gone together. You remember the attempts to make Gamboa versus Juan Ma.
Honestly, man, the first thing I thought of when you're explaining this plan to me was like Rogers Motagua and Yuriorkis Gamboa. And
Gambo put it on Motagua.
Yeah, he did. Okay? 2 rounds, man.
Yeah.
Blew his ass out.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course all of Juan Ma's fun exploits. Look, yeah, and Salido eventually just upsetting the apple cart. That can happen very often in boxing. Also, just like if you were going to bet on 2 individuals in boxing for a year-long plan, right? You're going to have two of the 4 or 6 most important pieces in your, master plan for 140 and 147 pounds is going to be Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez. Like, I would not bet on anything happening in their lives in the next week, let alone a year out. Like, these guys are all over the place.
Well, I get your reticence because of the people involved, but like, do you think one upset throws off the whole plan? Like, as much as I freaking love the idea that we are going to get Haney Garcia too, but then again, we get it if they both win, and that we are going to get potentially Teo Boots and the winners collide. It all sounds great, but is your reticence the idea of like Boots might not get past Staniosis? So what do we do next?
Well, look, I would hope that the show goes on and they're able to make the fights with the winners, that the tournament is legit. If it's really a tournament, what do you got? Do you got something good in there? You got some liquid crack? Can you hook me up?
High quality H2O. That's it.
Why am I here with you then? All right. So look, no, I think if it's a tournament, right, you continue the tournament even when there's an upset. Like, when UVA loses to the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, I can't believe I got that. When that happens, that they don't stop the tournament. March Madness is not over at that point. So yes, if this is actually a tournament format, and I think you owe it to the fighters, like if Staniosis gets an incredible upset, if Rolly, even your boy Rolly, even if he beats that, I can't even say the word that I'm thinking of for Ryan Garcia, but even if he beats that guy, he's that too. It does start with an R. But even if he beats that guy,
redacted,
he's getting close. Even if he beats Garcia, I want that tournament to go on. Like, you deserve that opportunity after you win a big fight. So yeah, I hope that it would operate as a true tournament style format. And I guess, like, for me, it's not that there could be upsets. It's that the characters are so erratic, especially Rolly is a close second to the only look, Rolly would be equal in erratic character rating to Ryan Garcia and Teo if he was as famous and people cared about his fights as much. He's equally as erratic, but he's easier to get rid of, because if he goes and gets his ass arrested or something, or jumps in the wrong 12-year-old's DMs, then you could just say goodbye, Rolly. Thank you.
Do you think, speaking serious of Rolly for a second?
Yeah, let's do that.
He used to be trained by a man called Bullet, who when I hosted
was it Mickey Rourke from the movie Bullet?
Who, when I hosted the first press conference in LA for the Rolly Tank fight that didn't happen the first time, I remember Bullet getting on the microphone at the dais and being like, "We ain't training to win rounds. We ain't training to win the fight. We training to kill him." And I remember just thinking, like, this is the most ridiculous trainer-fighter combination since Ann Wolfe and James Kirkland, right? And then he switches to Ismail Salas, who is, pocket-sized, but a brilliant Cuban mastermind.
He got the stick. He's got that stick out there.
Yeah. So do I, by the way. He's kind of gotten worse. He's kind of gotten worse since signing with him, right?
Look, that's what happens when, whenever Ismail Salas, first of all, we have this idea of the great Cuban boxing school, and it is a real thing. But we need to talk to someone who actually knows who these people, who these individuals are, right? I mean, like, we need to know. And Jadeo, man, you need to keep these comments off the screen. It's hard to concentrate. But no. Ismail Salas, I don't know whose reputation his reputation is based on. One thing seems like a pattern: damaged goods name fighters like Joe Joyce and Rolly Romero end up with him, and they don't get better. I don't think that's his fault. They probably just were on that. They're already on the schneid, and he's probably willing to underbid the next best trainer, that's all. And good for him. He deserves that work. I don't
disagree with this comment from Alex Robinson. Rolly got worse because his awkwardness was his best trait. Remember, Tank actually said after knocking out Rolly that was a really difficult fight, that he hit really hard, and he was had to be really careful in there. So I don't know. It'd be an incredible arc if Rolly comes back, knocks out Ryan Garcia, knocks out Devin Haney, and becomes the fighter of choice in Turkey's universe, but that's not likely, of course. So, man, dude, this is just fun talking about this ish. I know it's hard to believe that it's all going to happen and all tie in perfectly, but let me get your.
I'll give them credit. I think something good will happen. Like, Turkey is committed to making good fights. Now, we can't control the future, right? We don't know how every fight is going to work out. We don't know if a fighter is going to do something crazy that eliminates him from, consideration for the next 6 months or year or whatever. We don't know if they're going to cheat, whatever. All things can happen. This is boxing. But whatever is available, I do believe, honestly, that Turkey's goal is to make the best possible fights he can in a given moment. So I think that the product will be strong. I think I wouldn't bet on it turning out exactly like it's being scripted right now.
Well, even the replacements that we've gotten the few times Turkey has jumped the gun and announced a big fight, they've been pretty decent. I mean, I didn't like that Madrimov got pulled off of that Boachuk fight, only for Boachuk to fight that jobber. But, and also quickly back to Rolly, I remember what I was going to say. You brought up like Joe Joyce, and let's not forget Dubois. Dubois was considered going nowhere. Remember when he got dropped 3 times by Kevin Lorena in the first round? And now he's a heavyweight champion. Okay, so shit happens there. Also, Rafe, any truth to this from Lazy Bed? Rafe reminds me of a guy I used to buy Kind Buds from in 01.
I wasn't into that culture at the time. Like I didn't smoke back then. Oh, did I? I don't think so.
You're more of a booze hound and a liquid cracker, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Rafe
we'll see if I can do anything about
cracker.
Those things too. But yeah.
All right,
I'm glad that is a sort of vibe that I do like to cultivate, though.
Alex Crichton taking issue with you being against Pink Floyd while sitting in front of the wall.
Where am I going? Do you want me to sit outside? It's 3 degrees.
I'd like you to sit in front of your Marissa Mayer tribute collection. You want to know why, Rafe? Because have you heard? And this is not.
Let's just say that for that to happen, I would have to print some new posters because I use the old ones.
Oh my God! I mean, is this a true fact?
I may have painted them
from Jonah Friedman. I think Rafe will care for women's boxing if it's without protection. Okay.
No gloves. Okay. No glove, no love, baby.
Let me ask you this here. I don't think this is related to Turkey, but March 29th in Las Vegas, Top Rank is planning, it seems, a Melissa. I'm sorry. What's her name? You've screwed me up here. Michaela Mayer versus Sandy Ryan rematch. I doubt you'll get on a plane and go out there, but will you mix up some paint cans in anticipation for that or what?
I will be ready. I stay ready. All right. I stay ready with the paint.
Some paint in the tank or what? I mean, what's
oh my God. Oh my God.
All right, that got weird. It got really weird. All right. Let me ask you this also. The state of boxing in 25 from a broadcasting standpoint. So it appears that Riyadh season in Turkey and all things Saudi are in on DAZN. If there are 5 major promoters in this game, 3 of them live on DAZN. And then you got Top Rank, which has not announced where it's going at the end of its deal at the end of this July. There have been some reports out there that they could be going back to ESPN, but we're not sure. You've got PBC, maybe not in its strongest period ever financially or in terms of dates, but PBC is going to roll out the February 1st Benavidez card, which I love, the Tank on March 1st, and then presumably a Canelo fight in May. I hope it's not William Skull.
Man, we've all made some PBC jokes over the years. We've made Top Rank. We've had fun with all the promoters. I hope they do not get stuck with that Skull fight and then have to watch Ginger, the gingerbread man walk over to walk across the ocean because he can walk on water, Canelo. He's that good.
Yeah.
Well, walk over there. I was going to
ask you this. What do you think this year is like with that huge cloud looming over the sport? I'm not going to call it a dark cloud, but like everything big that's happening in boxing right now, for the most part, not these PBC pay-per-views, but for the most part, has some through line of Turkey. By the end of this year, do you think every of the 5 major promoters will be essentially sending their best fighters to fight cards that either Turkey is putting on himself or that he's explicitly sponsoring and funding?
The 5 families, so to speak. Brian, I think I don't see why. I don't even see why that's a bad thing for the promoters. I mean, yes, they would have to give up some of the control they have had over the sport in recent years, but it seems like the benefit of that would be that they get to make a lot more money off of the sport, that someone is overpaying them for fights that if they made themselves and had to front the money for, or convince ESPN or some other broadcaster that knows better, they aren't going to get made because they won't pay for them. So like boxing is boxing as a business is very flexible, it's like water, right? It finds the cracks and figures out a way to survive. It's cockroaches, right?
I mean, to be fair, right?
What? Oh,
so does Diddy.
Oh yeah, well, he finds a lot of cracks. Yeah, but it's boxing is very malleable. It can sort of figure out a way to mold itself around wherever the money is coming from at any given time. And I think it's pretty reasonable to expect that to happen in some way here. I'm not really worried about the big promoters because, like you said, they're still going to get their money from, whatever Turkey is shelling out for those fighters. If he has them under contract, if the promoters have them under contract, then there's not really going to be another way to make those fights. So they'll still get paid. They'll, either be working on setting up their next TV deals or keeping their TV deals. Like, I would worry more if I was a subscriber to ESPN Plus or whatever, and I'm going to be getting whatever the dregs are that's left over from Top Rank's deal with boxing as they send all their stars over to Turkey to make them make better money. But that would also just feel like any other year in boxing. So it's sort of, I'm not that worried. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. Shout out to Gillet Zhang, whose new bit is I bang you, no diddy. That is are you into that? I mean, this is our guy.
He's funny. I am into it. Yeah.
Okay, you're into banging. All right, I got that. One more thing from community service brand here, Rafe. BC should put his hypothetical fight schedule on a USB stick and hide it in the bathrobe.
But
one time, yeah, please do not. Please
do not ask.
Do not. Okay. All right. Rafa. The other thing related to boxing in 25, the broadcasting and the changes that we're going to see is that New York Times report that the skinheads, Dana White, UFC, TKO group are going to launch a prospect league of young boxers that will not involve big name champion fighters, but will be a pretty big deal around the globe this year. You've seen people that cover,
like, how big? We're talking like World Cup big or F1 big,
WBSS big. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this right now. And Dana White was asked about it at UFC 311 this weekend by Alan Dawson. And Dana said, "Whoa, hold on. Even though the New York Times report said the announcement's coming soon, he said it's not close, blah, blah, blah. That report was wrong." Is this, if you listen to the people that cover the business of combat sports, and I love these guys, John S. Nash, Eric McGracken. I mean, there's, the guys at Zach Arnold, the MMA Draw. These guys really aggressively cover TKO's every movement and all this. And they're looking at this as Dana White and UFC trying to restart boxing on the lowest level under the confines of how they do it in UFC, which it would apparently be young fighters, small salaries, match them aggressively against each other, and try to, I guess, on a grassroots level, rebuild the sport. A lot of people try to come into boxing and do things, and unless you have Turkey or Waddell and Reed money, it doesn't seem to change things, and it doesn't seem to last forever. Is this thing going to be any kind of dent into boxing in 2025? What do you make of it?
It depends on the prospects who would sign up for that. And I think one of the bigger concerns I would have if someone asked me to, put together a series like that or consult or help and whatever, if I were trying to figure out how to make it work, I would think, how do we make it worth the while for these prospects who are, in that, like, all of them but one are going to lose, right? There will only be one champion at the end of this tournament. How can I convince them that it's worth, that their profiles will benefit enough from participating in this league to risk, having losses on their record early in their careers before they probably otherwise would have to think about it? Because if they stay out of the tournament, shoot, you could keep fighting for three, you could have 10 more fights against pies, have 10, 15 more pies, and then work your way up the traditional way and build your name. Maybe they have to promise that they either have to overpay or promise give some sort of light you can't promise an opportunity for better fight, to stay in the mix even if you lose, some way to give them some insurance, because all of these guys but one are going to lose. I think what will really happen is the top level, whatever the tier one prospects, our boy Abdullah Mason out in Cleveland, and whatever, honestly,
Moten.
Yeah, that guy. No, look, honestly, I think like it's gonna
Robert Merriweather Jr.
I don't know. There's gonna be a few. I think we'll see fewer big name American and British prospects in this tournament. Probably they'll have to get guys who were, are a little low, are seen as future stars, but maybe have the potential. But then
TV fighters that'll brawl.
There
You
are
might
some
get some ratings.
That's true, and that's great. But they can. I would probably focus on Central Asia. Ukraine, places where there are a lot of good amateurs who could come up and make a dent, and might have that Olympic pedigree or a high national level pedigree, and have these promising pro careers ahead of them, but they're not going to get the push in the States or in the UK anyway until they're already near a championship level. So go for the, man, make it Uzbeks versus Kazakhs, and I'm in, right? I mean, shoot. And they'll probably get better fighters that way. They'll probably hold out for some US names and some British names, but in all honesty, in fact, this is what, take a page out of the book of BC, and don't just do all prospects. You do prospects versus gatekeepers, right?
Yeah.
Get some of those, get some old guys in, get the half of it, the gate, get like every that, then you're talking, and I think you could get some guys who are
welters, just, right? Bring in,
the washed welters versus the risers. Hopefully not completely washed.
What do you think about Lazy Bed's idea? Take the UFC fighters who are probably going to BKFC anyway, and then give them a chance to sunset themselves against young prospects and get, I guess, beat to shit.
Why? I mean, that's sort of like a washed welters type idea. Look, I like that idea. I think I think that the tournament, if it happens, will work out fine. I don't think they'll get the biggest names in the sport as the most anticipated prospects, but I think
it's not a tournament; it's a league. Don't be confused with the.
What's the difference between a tournament and a league in boxing?
I don't know. We've never seen it. I don't know.
How long will the league last?
I don't know.
When do you graduate? When do you get to fight people outside of the league?
I just hope I get a paycheck in this. That's what I really hope. All right. Yeah. By the way, I haven't said this anywhere else. February 1st, Benavidez Morel. You should tune in.
Now I am. I wasn't before.
You should tune in.
Now
okay?
I'm in.
You should tune in. All right. That's what I'm talking about. You should tune in. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, who's on the undercard for that again?
Great undercard. Seriously. Fulton Figueroa 2 as his co-main, former fight of the year. You've got Pitbull Cruz taking on Angel Fierro, who has balls out of Tijuana, trained by Eric Morales.
Pitbull probably should have just walked on that, right? And taken that Ryan money. Anyway,
probably, yep.
Should have pulled a Madrimov.
You've got Jesus Ramos Jr. coming off of his first defeat and taking on Banana, Jason Rosario, the former 150.
Oh God, that guy's so wild.
The guy's a little he's a little past it now, but yeah, that'd be fun and some good undercard fights on the free portion of it as well. So there you go. Yeah, Lazy Bet, happy birthday right there. We're both going to be celebrating indeed. All right, I got some Midwest questions for you. One, did you buy that shirt at a swap meet at the Detroit Masonic Hall or what? I mean, what happened here?
I already gave you my damn Flashes spiel, and if you don't know, then you ought to know. You better know. You better ask somebody.
If you don't like it, turn off your station.
There is a good swap meet out in Waterford County out here.
Compton, yeah, that's great. Great.
Well, those are the OGs.
Yeah, indeed. But by the way, the fires are nuts, dude. That's nuts. There's a lot of nuts things going on in this country right now, Mr. Nuts. There's a lot of balls out there. Okay,
let's just not talk about anything real or serious because we can't do it, Brian.
Okay, we can't
be trusted. As soon as we start trying to be earnest, we then fuck it up by just throwing in some dumb one line. We cannot help ourselves.
Serious question here. I watched a screening of that movie that came out on Christmas, The Fire Inside, the story of Clarissa Shields. I went with my son Isaac, and we actually enjoyed the hell out of it. Was there buzz in Greater Michigan around that? Did you see the movie? Do you care? I doubt you care because it involves women's boxing, but.
Well, I'm kind of I've come around to I do the long boomerang fandom thing where after I've hated on a fighter for like a solid decade, then I start to be like, you know what, they're actually okay. I kind of like them now, and that's I'm in that phase right now with Clarissa Shields, where I will say openly that she's the only woman boxer that I root for openly.
Oh,
and
wow.
I want to win. I think that she's better. She is the GOAT. These other girls can't really hold a candle to her. All of that. So to answer your question, it was her movie was it got a pretty big release around here. It's still, it's still a smaller film, and people are really only going to the theaters to see whatever, like Moana 2 and that junk. But like,
Yeah.
it was in all the theaters here. It was easy to find. It was on multiple screens. It got, it got the kind of respect I think it deserves in not too, right down the road from Flint.
Okay, it's good. It's a good story, by the way. I mean, it really makes Flint a character, really shows the crap that she had to crawl through to get to where she is today. I know everyone doesn't love her, but I do have respect for her. Rafe, people are wondering about the fire inside of you. Lazy Bed saying it might be below the belt. I mean, do the drapes match the curtains? That's basically what he's the car.
Oh, I thought he meant like I bring that fire.
Well, I've seen that happen. At
I will burn. I will burn you. Don't worry.
All right. Question coming in for Rafe, hot and heavy here from JFA 500. If you had to recommend one Filipino dish for BC to try, which one would it be? Is this going to be some like aborted young animal too early mixed with egg?
I will. I want to do right by you, Brian.
Yeah.
I think one of the crowd, the drinking food, the pulutan, those are always crowd pleasers. I think you would like a really well done crispy pata, which is just a kind of like a big giant fried pork knuckle leg.
Oh wow!
And you eat it with
any moose knuckles
vinegar, and it's so good. It's so good, and you wouldn't eat the whole thing because you'd probably keel over on the spot. But it's the kind. I'm sorry, there's like wafts of snow flying over here. But a few bites with your drink, it's fantastic. Same goes the other classic Filipino pulutan that's anyone who tries it loves is sisig. And I would make you eat the real pork sisig with the mascara and the tenga. It's basically pork face, jowls and ears chopped up very finely, served on a sizzling plate with onions, garlic, hot peppers, like a little.
I feel like I could get diarrhea while eating it.
You could get diarrhea, drinking liquid crack, man. I mean, don't.
I'd rather take the butcher's word for it. Yeah.
I guarantee you would like them. They're really good.
Okay,
I'll tailor. What do you like to eat, Brian? I'll tell you what. Kilawin, huh? This is another pulutan, but lighter. It's like the Pinoy version of ceviche. It's either
what kind of sides does that come with, though?
Okay. Oh, balls. You want balls? You can have soup number 5, which is a Chinese Filipino dish, your basic wonton mami soup with a little bit of ox balls in there. But they don't taste that much like balls.
Luke Thomas calls me a food racist. He doesn't realize that I eat because of my wife. Many guys. I mean, many different.
Oh, good. My wife hasn't made me eat guys yet, but we've only been married for a year, so we can get.
Can't we meet in the middle at a Winchell's? What would you order for me at a Winchell's if Jesus Soto Carras was there shirtless? Yes.
Probably Corona. Maybe Modelo, and that's the crazy. When you go to any Winchell's, all the Southern California donut shops now, they all have their versions of cronuts and very fancy looking stuff. Now they're all they are the LA versions. They are the LA donut shop versions of those things. It's not like going to the fancy ass bakery in Soho where that whole nonsense started. But you can find some pretty classy sounding and looking donuts in those spots until you put them in your belly and you feel like a brick just went in there.
We got a question. I don't want to try any of that. We got a question coming from Robert Rowan.
Easy.
Arroz caldo.
Arroz caldo. Yeah, Lugao. I make this very well. I would cook it for you. It's
me or Robert Rowan? Which one?
Both. You guys can both come over.
Because I heard Robert Rowan's getting in that ass. Right?
Guys, that's why you're there. All right. I need an ass for him to get in. It's just it's like a rice porridge, like a congee, if you've had that from Chinese food, and cooked with a lot of ginger, patis, fish sauce.
I like ginger.
And with chicken broth and chicken parts inside. Mostly meat. You can have other parts if you want. But
are you a big pancit fan?
Pancit. I guess I feel like for the Western beginner, you're used to eating noodles from from around the world, from Italy, from Chinese food, from Thai
Thailand.
food, right?
Yeah.
Thailand noodle.
I go to a Laotian restaurant here in town. Okay.
All and so so I feel like there's this impulse for American and I guess maybe European. I shouldn't speak for them. I don't really know none of them. I don't really talk to Europeans unless I
People don't
fornicate with
realize
them.
you hate everybody except for like a core circle.
No, but I have love for everyone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But no, so basically pancit can be you're going to naturally compare that to if you like lo mein or chow fun or pad thai or whatever noodle you like best. You're going to compare it to that and be like, I don't like this as much. So I understand that it is the easiest thing to, especially like a pancit canton or bihon, the ones that are pretty much just cooked, like flavored in familiar ways. Those things they're easy to start people off with, but shoot, like it's not a showstopper. I want to knock your socks off. I want to blow your mind with this.
Okay, well, I don't go that far on the first date. Shout out to the Irish crew, the Filipino crew. I get down with Laotian the skin as well. And Rafe, would you agree that I would absolutely inhale halo?
Halo, you would. It's one of the best desserts in the world.
All right, enough Filipino talk. Since you're a native New Yorker, could you rate the 5 boroughs for me?
I mean, should we look?
Like, where would you if somebody was born into New York City culture, where would you least like them? Like, let's go, what's the best borough? What's the worst? 1 through 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, no, I'm not going to do that. I got love for all of New York City.
Oh, you're afraid? You're afraid of some Midwest backlash?
I just feel bad talking shit about Staten Island because everybody knows where that's going to be. Like,
you're going to end up with one of those Eddie scars, all right? You're going to...
Right.
Okay.
I mean, like, Manhattan keeps on making it. Brooklyn keeps on taking it.
Okay.
Queens keeps on faking it.
Okay.
Bronx keeps creating it.
Oh, what about SI?
And that's not even in the song, man. I'm sorry. Talk to KRS-One.
Isn't Staten Island really Jersey?
I mean, kinda. It's close. It's about as close to Jersey as it is New York.
Yeah, weird. All right. Hey, it's time to play a game that we used to play all the time. It's called Do You Care About the Box that you have an opportunity to unwrap this weekend and open up. All right, you ready?
Let's open it up.
All right, here we go. Thursday, Commerce Casino, East LA, and live on DAZN. Eric Priest versus Tyler Howard. 10 rounds, middleweights. Do you care?
No. Who?
Okay. Friday from Tokyo, Japan on ESPN Plus, Naoya Inoue, the undisputed junior featherweight title holder and one of the pound for pound best, will take on a replacement known as Yi Jun Kim, aka Pocky Weather.
Yes, I care. I always care when Inoue fights.
What are we looking for?
He's the best fighter in the world. I care.
The idea here is that this might be his worst opponent ever, but you get it given the circumstances. We just want to see the artists go out there and play the hits and be done in 2 rounds, right?
And he often, not always, because there have been a couple opponents over the years who really just turtled up and look to survive and do nothing else. But he's a fun fighter to watch tee off and finish an opponent. So it's worth watching. He does try to put on that show.
Do you respect Luis Neri for dropping him in round 1 a couple fights ago?
Of course. I mean, Nonito didn't even drop him in that fight. Like, he hurt him, but he didn't put him down. He didn't get him on the floor or on the mat. Like, that is impressive.
All right. Good stuff. I don't think there's anything on that card that you care about beyond that, because I don't think we've heard of any of these names. Kai Watanabe is on there, the junior lightweight. I don't think you care. Hey, let's go to Saturday Pro Box TV from Plant City. I'm sorry, Friday from Plant City, Florida. Sometimes these guys give us some wash names, but not this time. Najee Lopez takes on Lenin Castillo, 10 rounds light heavyweights.
Lenin Castillo, did he lose to Bivol? He lost to one of those guys.
He might have, yeah.
I think he was one of those decision wins for Bivol where you're like, what is going on with this guy? Please, for the love of God, why? Just finish one of these guys.
Can we get Jared Hurd or Chris Colbert on this card? You got heavyweight Jeremiah Milton on the undercard. He's okay. I don't think you care. Let's go to Saturday, Las Vegas DAZN. Hey, one of the top young super middleweight fighters, Diego Pacheco, is back taking on Steven Nelson. 12 rounds, super middleweights, and in that co-main event, Cuban Olympian Andy Cruz will take on Omar Salcido in a 10-round lightweight tilt. Tito Mercado in the opener, Ernesto Tito Mercado, junior welterweights against the husk of Jose Pedraza, a 10-round bout. Will you tune in on Saturday? The Zone from Las Vegas.
Yeah, why not? There's nothing else on this week, so might as well. I mean, that's clearly the card. Other than the 3 to 10 minutes we would hope to see of Inoue winning his fight. That's a card with 3 fights that when you're jonesing, right? When it's Friday night fights time, even though this isn't a Friday night. Even though like it has that energy, you're like, all right, look, I need to watch some boxing right now. Something funny will happen on this. The fights are kind of interesting. I got to see this.
Yeah, and by the way,
I agree. Actually, decent is probably how I should have just said.
Dude,
that.
Pacheco can fight.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. And Nelson, he's lost already. It doesn't look like he makes 168 very comfortable. He walks around pretty big, and he's long in the tooth, but he will, I don't know. I think he'll look okay for a few rounds, right? He'll make him, he knows how to box. He knows how to take care of himself. Pacheco, if he comes out of that fight looking good, he will have to fight well to look good. I don't think he has to fight well to win, but it's worth why. And then Andy Cruz, like, I haven't seen much of him yet. I'm curious. I'm curious.
I know Keyshawn Davis wants to take down Andy Cruz as well. Did you buy that shirt at a darts convention? We have covered that already, but I love the hate that's coming at you anyway. Hey, let's continue on.
You know, man. If you know, you know.
I don't know. Saturday, Nottingham, England, in the UK there.
The Cobra?
On Days In. No, the Cobra will not be fighting, but
is he going to be in the building?
Probably. He'll probably be talking about ADK and hating on someone. Dalton Smith will have a 12-round main event against Waleed Uiza for the vacant European junior welterweight title. No?
I'll wait until I get to see the winner of Dalton and Waleed, going out on their shield against someone better from off of the UK, and then watch them be gutted.
Okay. Also in the co-main, Ellie Scottney will defend her unified junior featherweight women's title against Maya Motu.
Come on.
Nah, there's too much emails in that for you. Also, Harry Scarf will face Kona Walker for Scarf's British and Commonwealth welterweight titles. In terms of the BS secondary and third belts in this game, do you have any respect for that rainbow belt they roll out in the UK, and that it's always like, this one's for the Commonwealth Championship? Like, they got a little pride in there.
Yeah, of course, because they usually make good fights when those are on the line, right?
They make crackers with crackers, right? They do.
The crackers can deliver a cracker, and us crackers will enjoy them.
There you go. A lot of cracker on cracker love going on there. Also Saturday, ESPN Plus. Really? From San Luis Potosi, Mexico, Omar Chavez, Misael Rodriguez, 10-round super middleweight.
As in like that JCC Junior's brother?
That can't be JCC's other son. Can it be? No, I'm not even going to look it up. That can't be. It can't be. No.
It's not.
All right, that's all you have to care about this weekend. That's it. All right.
Maybe they're trying to build him back up on ESPN.
You're not a big Harry Scarf fan?
I mean, I do like the name. And yeah, I mean, like, I'm not manscaping, so my scarf be way down there.
All right. So I'm just going to say in general here, Rafe, that, I'm really fired up for the box. I am, dude, because we want craziness. It feels like we're going to get craziness in 25.
I think you're right. I as much as I like to talk shit about it, Brian, I think the basic facts of the fundamentals of this situation are there's someone who wants to make a big impact on the sport, and they want to do it by making very good fights and spending a lot of money on those things. Is every fight they say going to happen? Probably not, because nothing ever, like, it's impossible to plan that far ahead. But as long as the motivation is there, we're going to see something worth, like, it's going to be another good year for the sport. And as you love to point out, and as I used to write about, we usually don't get good years you know, stacked on top of each other. And if this changes that, that's all. I don't need any more than that to say thank you, Mr. Turkey. Thank you, Your Excellency.
It's very warm inside the box. Would you agree?
Oh, I've been in and it's warm.
Okay, that was ridiculous. I mean, that was just absurd, right? Also, by the way, get this: Sunday, February 23rd, Brooklyn, New York. Saddam Ali's comeback fight.
Against
Your boy, and Paulie Malignaggi on the call.
That is my dream team. Honestly, it's not, like that is my dream announcer's booth right there. Does Paulie know who you are now?
Yeah, dude, I've interviewed Paulie a long time.
He definitely wouldn't know who I am.
I'll say this. I used to share Showtime desks with him, you know, hosting weigh-ins or whatever, or sometimes I'd be the analyst, sometimes I'd be the host.
Stop bragging about taking my side desk, Brian.
He didn't used to talk to me or really acknowledge me until I did the side piece joke to him on air once. And ever since then, it's been like full respect. And so I get down with Paulie. All right?
I mean, Paulie, for all of his flaws, and he has revealed many of them, you know, he's a real New Yorker.
He is at the end of the day, you know, he's got the old school Italian in him. You know what I mean? He lives a different set of rules in life.
He has a code.
Yes, there you go. The man.
What's up with Peter Cards these days?
I don't know. I like Peter Cards. I hope to see him out there again someday. That guy carried water for a long time, right? You know,
and clipped extensions.
There we go. Rafe, what do you want to tell people? Anything? You probably don't, but like, you know, can we see you again on this podcast in this life?
Anytime. I'm only a call away. A call away.
Maybe we can buy your books.
You can also buy books. I've written 3 of them. There's Pacific Rims, 2 and 2, McSorley's My Dad and Me and Kriegel, and Basketball Love Story, all available anywhere you buy books online. Don't go if you walk into a bookstore, good luck finding any of that shit.
You're like, hi, where's your Rafe Bartholomew section?
Yeah. I wish you luck. You know, maybe if you're in Manila, you can find some of my books. But actually, the National Bookstore in Cubao has. I feel bad every time I go in there because they have this giant stack of my second book, the one about McSorley's, which I'm sure they got from a buyer well-meaningly because they're like, well, this guy he wrote a book that people loved here, but that book was about the Philippines and about basketball, something people loved there. This is just a book about New York and a bar. And so I walk in there every time I'm back, every year, and I see the same pile of books. I'm like, well, we're going to sell one day. So if you're out there and you want to buy one from the National Bookstore, that big branch in Cubao, 2 stories, it's on the 2nd floor.
Any truth to what We Are Live is saying that you are currently writing an inside story against the sex trade in the Southeast Asia called Pacific Rim Jobs?
I feel like that story is pretty well known. I mean, and it's pretty gross. You should, you know, I don't encourage it. I stayed out of that nonsense despite living there and despite being a foreign man, and it's just not for me.
Maybe Nigel will write that.
Yeah, well,
okay, there we go. That's time to close down shop. That is Rafe Bartholomew. You can find him at Rafe Boogs on the socials, or maybe at your local suburban Detroit. Where do you go to buy the liquid crack? Do you go to like a knockoff 7-Eleven?
This is a little embarrassing. Yeah, I go to gas stations and 7-Elevens all around the Auburn Hills, Pontiac area because I'm so ashamed of myself that I don't like buying from the same place twice in a row. So I try and spread it out.
Okay.
I don't want them to know how bad it gets.
If I told you were about to die, but you could have one more 12-ounce can of the liquid crack, brand and flavor. That's all I need to know. Brand and flavor.
Coke Zero.
So you're telling me that for your last dance with the devil, you're going Coke Zero? You're not going like grape or like you ever try like a cherry soda? It could change your life.
I've had all those things. They taste fine, but it's not like when you're hooked on something, it's not about the flavor anymore. It is you need a hit.
How about Jolt Cola? Why are you going like zero sugar? You're about to die. Go full Jolt.
I'm not used to. I would do it or a tropical fantasy. You could talk me into one of those on nostalgia grounds. But I want the thing that I'm in this game for one reason, and that's Diet Coke and Coke Zero. And if I can't get my hands on those, or if I'm too cheap, then I go down the ladder from there.
All right, we should put out our own line of liquid crack called Creaming Soda. Says We Are Live from inside the box. Right.
I'll let you be on the label.
Okay, there we go. Hey, that's all the show we got for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be updating Turkey's adjustments as we move forward with the schedule. And don't forget, less than 2 weeks away, Benavidez versus Morrell. You're feeling that fight, right? Please tell me.
I am. Hell yes, I'm feeling that. And I'm feeling any announcements you might make in the future about that fight.
Tune in. All right. Buy the stream. There you go. Hey, that's Rafe Boogs on BC. And until then, we're out of here. Stay up like men do. Okay. Real men. All right. That's what I'm talking about. We out. We out.